Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to crack open one of the most fundamental, most important building blocks in all of JavaScript. Seriously, this is a concept that once you really get it, is going to completely change how you write code, for the better. We're talking about functions. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever been, deep in a project, and you catch yourself typing the exact same lines of code in like 3, 4, 5 different places? It's so tedious, right? It just feels inefficient, and honestly, it's kind of painful. I mean, take a look at this. Super simple, right? We're just printing a greeting. But we've already written the console.log part twice. Now, imagine if this wasn't just one line, but a big, complex 10-line piece of logic. And you had to repeat that for 20 different people? That is just a recipe for disaster, for messy code, and a ton of future headaches. Now, here's the really interesting part. The solution to this super common problem also happens to be one of the top questions you're going to get asked in a technical interview. So mastering this doesn't just make you a better coder, it helps you get hired. And that brings us right to the heart of it all. What exactly are functions in JavaScript? Let's break it down nice and simple. Okay, the absolute best way to think about a function. Picture it as your own personal reusable code machine. You build it once, you get it working perfectly, and then you can use it to do that same job over and over and over again. And that machine idea leads us perfectly to the official definition. A function is just a reusable block of code that's designed to perform one specific task. If you remember anything, remember these two words, reusable and specific. It does one thing, it does it well, and it does it anytime you ask it to. So, how does this little machine work? Well, it's a really powerful 3-step cycle. First, you give it some input. This is the data, and we call them parameters. Second, the machine will process that input, using the code logic you wrote inside of it. And third, it kicks out an output, which we call a return value. Input, process, output. That's the magic formula right there. All right, theory is great and all, but seeing is believing, right? Let's actually put this thing to work with a real code example. It's time to fire up our machine. Okay, let's walk through this. See that first block? That's where we define it once. We use the function keyword, we give our machine a name, in this case, greet, and we tell it to expect one piece of input, which we're calling name. Then look below that. We call it many times. By just writing greet and passing in a name, we're telling that whole block of code to run again. See how clean that is? This is what makes it so powerful. So we've seen what a function is, and we've seen how to rate one. But why does this one concept matter so much? Let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Here's the deal. Using functions brings huge benefits. First, it completely avoids code duplication. There's a big principle in programming called dry. Don't repeat yourself. Functions are the key to that. Second, your code becomes way more scalable. Imagine you need to change that greeting message. You just change it in one place, not 20. And finally, it just makes your entire project so much easier to read and organize. It's a total win-win-win. And this right here is the bottom line, especially if you're looking for a job. When you can walk into an interview and explain functions with confidence, you're not just answering a trivia question. You're showing them that you get the absolute foundation of programming. It is a massive green flag for any hiring manager, trust me. So, we've defined it, we've seen it in action, and we understand its power. You now have the blueprint for one of the most powerful tools in any programmer's toolbox. The only question left is the one you see right here. Now that you've seen the machine, what are you going to build with it?